Vincent and the Grenadines. WEFM is SVG.
27 minutes on to 11 o'clock here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You're locked on to WEFM 99.9, the Clean Fresh Sound, and this is your Israel program. Remember, Israel is an interactive program, so the numbers to call are 457 9997 if you're calling from a local landline, 532 9997 if you're calling from a digital cell phone, or you can call us or send us a message on WhatsApp at 457 9997. The Israel program is being hosted by Mr. Cecil Ryan and Mr. Philbert John. Good morning to you, Cecil.
Good morning to you, Karen, and good morning to Philbert and our distinguished guests whom we'll introduce in a little bit. So we just want to greet all our listeners. As I always say, you're part of the WEFM family. Of course, the Issue at Hand family. It's nice to be with you another Sunday morning, today being March 8th, International Women's Day. And in fact, that is going to be our feature discussion this morning. But before we get into all of that, we have to do the usual thing, including asking my colleague, Philbert, to greet people.
Cecil, thank you very much. I am Pigeon also. Keep forgetting that.
I remember next time.
It's good to be back on another edition of Issue at Hand. And I see without fear of contradiction that we are sitting among royalty.
That's right.
Today. And let me shorten my introduction so that we could have as much time as possible with these young ladies. Cecil.
Yeah, Pigeon. Unfortunately, we got to start with some sort of unpleasant things, but it's usually, that's the nature of things. Not connected with the distinguished and the royalty that you introduced a while ago, but things that are happening in the society around us. Sometimes it's unpleasant. Things are unpleasant as this particular moment in our history, certainly Caribbean and Vincentian history, but even the history of the world, because I should say most of the history of the world, because some very unpleasant things are happening. Certainly for our Caribbean, efforts are being made to divide us all the time, and some people are just sucking to debate. We know what happened on the few days ago, really. But this is what I want to pay attention to, and our listeners to know that those who have evil intention continue to put pressure on the good deeds of Cuba. I understand that even in Italy, the Italian government has decided, well, they've put up some resistance to some extent to keeping the Cuban medical mission there in Italy, although they're saying they have to do some adjustments the next round of contract. But in the meantime, as we know, as we said last week, Jamaica has taken the decision to terminate the 50 years of relations with Cuba in terms of the medical mission there in Cuba, in Jamaica. And just this week, the Cuban government issued a release, and I want to read it so that our listeners can hear it. And let me begin now. Cuba regrets the decision of the government of Jamaica to cease medical cooperation, yielding to pressure from the U.S. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Cuba reports that on March 4, the Foreign Ministry of Jamaica communicated to our embassy in that country the unilateral decision of its government to terminate the health cooperation agreement that has linked both nations for decades. With this action, the government of Jamaica yields to the pressure of the government of the United States, which is not concerned about the health needs of the Caribbean brothers. Cuba deeply regrets that, in this way, a history of fruitful and sustained collaboration is disregarded, one that has brought countless benefits to Jamaican people, who are now deprived of receiving the basic and specialized health services that Cuba collaborators provided. In response to the step taken by the government of Jamaica, the government of Cuba has made the sovereign decision to proceed with the return of the Cuban Medical Brigade behind an indelible mark of and return to Cuba with the satisfaction of a duty fulfilled and the permanent willingness to assist wherever the spirit of solidarity is required. Cuba's work in Jamaica is an eloquent example of genuine cooperation. In the last 30 years alone, more than 4,700 Cuban collaborators have provided medical assistance on the Caribbean island. Currently, the brigade was composed of 277 professionals whose work has had a tangible and profound impact on strengthening the Jamaican health system. The historic results of the collaboration speaks for themselves. More than 8,176,000 patients treated, 74,000 surgical procedures performed, 7,170 births attended, more than 90,000 lives saved. Likewise, through the Operation Miracle program, present in Jamaica since 2010, the sight of nearly 25,000 Jamaicans have been restored or improved. Cuba cooperation has also been decisive in projects for the control and prevention of diseases such as malaria and in the fight against COVID-19 pandemic. The most recent example of this dedication was seen after the passage of Hurricane Melissa, which severely affected the island in those difficult circumstances. The Cuban Medical Brigade remained firmly at their post, many of its members working for more than 72 hours, consecutive hours, and actively joining the task of recovering hospitals and communities. Faithful to the historic relations of brotherhood and solidarity that unite us with Jamaica, Cuba reaffirms its unwavering commitment to the Jamaican people, who will always be able to count on the selfless cooperation of Cuba. And that statement was put out on just 2 days ago, on March 6th. It's reading this is painful. Painful to know that a relationship that sought to save lives and to help people who are in need, desperate need, has to be terminated due to pressure from a country led by some who are bent on evil intent, really. There's no other way to say it. Killing people even here close to us in fishing boat, can't be anything but evil. When people are innocent, they've done nothing to you, you're bombing people, you're killing people. And on the other hand, you are putting pressure on an entity that wishes to save lives. Yes, I don't know. It's painful even to realize that and to read this statement, you know. Sometime last week, 1 week before I think it was, I had started to read that letter that was circulated, and I hadn't gotten to the end of it. But even so, somebody had called this station here, a regular listener called this station here to get my number to call me how the person can contribute money or otherwise. And if, as you remember, Peter, last week we were discussing that at length, and people called in and suggested, well, first of all, sister who is suffering from cancer, and was testifying in terms of the goodness of Cuba and the Cuban doctors who are here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Another caller was insisting almost that we find a way to keep the Cubans here, and we must resist pressure from others. And I think it was Kojo who made an interesting suggestion that perhaps we may wish to, or our government may wish to offer citizenship status to the Cubans, all Cubans who are here, so that even if there's pressure, they may find a way to resist that pressure. So, you know, it's, as I said, it's rather painful to go through these things and to see what's happening in the rest of the world, and to know that two of our Caribbean leaders found it necessary to be part of that devilish kind of worship and devilish kind of relationship. They were in Florida. You know that President Ali of Guyana and Prime Minister Kamala Persad Bissessar. Yeah, well, such is life, but we can't give up. We are a people who have had, whose history has been a history of struggle, whether it's against those who came, the invaders who came and stole the lands of the Garifuna people, the indigenous people, then exiled them on Baliso in 1797. And as we know, Pijan, a man of history yourself, that over 2,000 of them perished on Baliso, and the others were sent on further in banishment to Rotten Island of Belize. And is that kind of history we continue to struggle and fight against?
And this is the month that we commemorate those activities.
Of course. And I was trying to remember the Solis famous song, Marching into History. Yeah, this is a month of Heritage and History Month. And
I still haven't heard anything specific to St. Vincent and the Grenadines or our program, and whether we are succumbing to the similar pressure.
Well, from what I am picking up, it seems so, because I heard the news, and it was being said that, and in fact, it was being said in a press conference by Prime Minister Friday, that generally St. Vincent will be accepting deportees. The details have not yet been worked out, but basically he said that. So I don't know if that is as a result of pressure, which could well have been the case, or the independent.
I was really talking about the Cuban Brigade.
Oh, but you remember earlier it was said, I think by Minister of Health during the budget debate, Minister of Health did indicate that they're going to be scaling back. They're going to on the Cuban medical mission here. He did say that they're going to work with private entity to see how they could maintain some of the things that are being done at modern medical in Georgetown. So I don't know if that was an indication that pressure has started to be placed on the government in terms of the Cuban mission. I hope it isn't, but I hope also that, and the government ought to know that people, based on the calls that we received and what I'm hearing around the place, people will be prepared to resist that. They're prepared to put up resistance to that. I mean, after all, the U.S. may be looking after its own interests, national interests. We too have to look at our own national interests, the interests of our people, the health of our people. And it's one of the things that the government ought to know. The way people feel, especially about health. Health is one of those things that are fundamental to life and living. You can't play with health. And to the extent that the Cuban medical mission has formed an integral and a very significant part of our health system here in St. Vincent and the Grenadines for years, for decades, you can't afford to compromise that. And I think we would be prepared to struggle to make sure that doesn't happen. Well, we're accustomed to struggling anyway. That has been the history of our country, history of our people, a history of struggle and resistance. And again, this being, historical month of March when we commemorate and recognize the leadership role that Chatoué, his Right Excellent Chatoué has played. We have to honor that. And if we're going to honor that, we got to continue putting up resistance. Yeah, so I just wanted to get that out of the way, painful as it is, but we got to deal with it. And I hope people are recognizing, and it'd be good to hear from people, some people, if you wish to, later on, but we don't want to get it above, we don't want to put it above our main topic for this morning. Any other response, Peter?
I just want to raise one troubling issue that concerns me. We heard about the death of our student athlete, Alia McDowell, last week.
Mm-hmm.
What concerns me is the fact that she got in an altercation that purportedly led to her death in November of 2024. And according to recent news reports, the police just recently laid charges against the persons allegedly responsible. And I'm wondering, why did it take so long for the court system to take effect? I'm just concerned about that.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't heard any official statement, anything like that, by way of explanation. But it seemed to be another long period of time before the law took its course in relation to this particular issue.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Well, both situations are very unfortunate, and it raises the question of how do we reach out to young people and get them to not to be involved in these kinds of activities, in school. You get involved with your colleague and an incident that has led to now the death and also subsequently the arrest and charge, of a youngster. I understand she's 17 years old, the person was charged.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's a legal thing about that. I don't know how old you have to be, your minimum age to be charged.
Yeah.
Because when it happened, she may have been 16 or so. I don't know. So, but I'm sure there must have been some kind of investigation by the police. I hope there has been.
There must have been.
Mm-hmm.
But between November 2024 and February, March 2026, That's a long period of time.
It is. Maybe they were hoping, like most of us, that the youngster who passed away, she may have recovered. Maybe they were just hoping and wishing that that would have been the case, which perhaps meant they would, they would have taken a different course of action. I don't, what do you think?
Just baffling to me.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got to move into our main event now, and as we said before, we're going to be talking about the way in which Vincentian women are contributing to the development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. In that sense, we're going to look at what's happening presently, what has happened in recent past, and the more, the longer past. So those are some of the things we're going to be talking about in terms of looking at all the areas of life and living. We were just talking about health, for example, certain area of health, education, the area of living generally in the society, area of work, the area of governance. Those are some of the areas we're going to be looking at and see what role women are playing and continue to play in those areas. Well, first of all, we want to just put this thing in slightly in historical context. International Day itself, which was actually activities to highlight the role of women in the society, started in 1908, and then it's subsequently at different points, different things have happened. Conferences have been held, and it has been a history of struggle as well. I just want to come quickly to 1977, I think it was, when the UN, I think it was in 1975, the United Nations established International Women's Day, March 8th, as a date to commemorate annually. And that's actually started in 1977. The declaration was recognized earlier, 1975, and the actual day was March 8th was adopted as International Women's Day, starting in 1977. So that's the United Nations. And so today, we want to, as we have been doing, certainly over the years, we have always had recognized the significance of International Women's Day and the way in which women have been contributing to the development of our society. It is more urgent now than even before, given that what's happening in the rest of the world, including the Caribbean, where men seem to be the more destructive of the species right now. I'm not sure if folks would agree with me, but the women need to step up and play a bigger role than they're playing. I mean, that's unfortunate, but that's what it is. But let me just, before I introduce our guests, let me just start off with this one. I don't know if the folks in the studio would recognize it. I'll come to that in a while.
Life is a journey, and I'm part of it. Life is reality, it is not a myth. A woman was made a man's companion since the days of creation, to reproduce and replenish the earth. A woman's role is something of worth. I am woman, from the rebuff man. I am a woman, virtuous woman, a woman with pride and dignity, with extra love for humanity. I'm gonna show my identity, 'cause that's the woman in me. Whoa. Hey. Alala, woman, 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 woman. The Garden of Eden, yes, that was my home. Temptation struck when I was left alone. The tree of life held my destiny. The apple of strife was given to me. And with all that put in context, a woman was labeled the weaker sex. Still I'm a woman, tempted woman. I am a woman, seduced by Satan. Weakness caused woman's disobedience, and sin became man's inheritance. And as the scripture revealed today, that's the role women had to play. Still I'm a woman, serious woman, talking about woman, marvelous woman, talking about woman, productive woman, talking about woman, selective woman, a woman with strength in the family, a symbol of hope, trust and harmony. It is my philosophy to protect that woman in me. Oh, hey, I'm on my way. Woman, 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 woman. Life is a challenge for me as a mother, but life is a privilege, and motherhood is an honor. Man should cherish woman like gold for bringing their offsprings into this world. Treat her with love, honesty, and care, and for man she will always be there. Talking about woman, serious woman, talking about woman, marvelous woman, a woman with pride and dignity, with extra love for humanity. Brave women, show your identity, 'cause that's the woman in we. I'm on my way. Woman, 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 woman. This world and its problems we all have to face. A mother's love for her children cannot be erased. So when I see boys in early 20s in caskets taken to cemeteries, slain by the reckless bullet of a gun, me belly does fun, Lord, that ain't no fun. 'Cause I'm a woman, and I share your pains. I am a woman, the scars of lost remain. Yes, I am a woman, and this is my plea to all young women in my community. Uplift yourself with education. Come help me build a better nation. Talking about a woman, productive woman. Talking about a woman, selective woman. Talking about a woman, serious woman. Talking about a woman, marvelous woman. A wind of change blowing in the air. Women are now leaders now everywhere. mama wayo. Woman, 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 woman.
So, we have in the studio with us to the pigeon two marvelous women, two serious women, two selective women, two productive women, two women with pride and dignity. And certainly they have extra love for humanity. We hope they can help us make that love, extra love, manifest itself, because we need that today. Marla, good morning to you and welcome to the program.
Good morning to you, Ryan, to Pijan, to my fellow Empress here, Fire Empress herself, and to all of the listeners tuning in to celebrate the contribution of Vincentian women today. It's a pleasure to be here, and I look forward to the discussion.
All right, and Fire Empress herself. Do you recognize the song?
Of course. Why won't I? This is the
Okay.
song that started me off, really and truly, because when I started, remember, it's soca, and everybody's always think if you sing a soca and you get on bad, that's what's gonna propel you. But for me, Calypso was it, and this was the song that gave me my first international crown, which was Trinidad and Tobago Calypso Queen 2012. And might I say, that's not a crown that you can defend. It's a crown that remains there. So I can go back at any time and look and see 2012 Calypso Queen, Lonet Ned. I know they wouldn't put St. Vincent, but that's okay.
So, I'm going to come back because I notice you identify two leaders, as in
Yes.
Portia
yes,
Simpson, former Prime Minister of Jamaica,
Yes.
and
One of the very first, yes.
yeah, and
female.
Kamala
Yes.
Prasad. Some people may have a problem with that even now.
But you see, back then,
in
this song is back in 2012.
2012, yes.
you
All
know.
right. But
And I just like to add that I had the pleasure of performing back vocals for your final performance in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Okay.
And I didn't even
And-
There's
remember
a lot
that.
of history in this
and guess
song.
what? I got to add in my little piece. I had the privilege of being in Victoria Park, now Independence Park, when you performed that
So
song.
we have a lot of history
Yes.
around that song.
It was beautiful. It was a beautiful time for me.
Yes. So, folks, we have a challenge here today. We're going to be discussing, well, it's not really a challenge, maybe it's easy work. The way in which Vincentian women have contributed and are continuing to contribute to development in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, even from the moment of our struggle with the indigenous people against the invaders, the British invaders, the British who came in and really committed genocide and all the rest of that, all that followed. But we are here today, and we have been struggling all that time to make changes, positive changes in the lives of Vincentian men and women
Yes.
in St. Vincent. How have we done? Would you say how you, in your judgment, have we done well? Have we done well enough?
I always say, when I have to answer questions like this, I always say, yes, we started. Are we still on the right track? Maybe not. But then there are generations between this. In my time, what I had growing up, I wish that the kids now would have it. But again, they would say, we change and we elevate and things change and we're supposed to accept changes, but sometimes the changes are no good. When I was
But
in
let me
school,
ask you, go on.
when I was in school, straps, licks, these things were around. Now they're no longer around. A student stand up in class and smoke, teacher teaching one corner, and all of these are on social media. So, and I know that people see these things every day on social media. You see them. And I asked how did we get there? for me, I can only push to try to be an example, but I'm only one person, you know.
Mala?
Yes,
Yeah.
I like to look at things from the developmental aspect of things. So I would not venture down the path of good or bad, but to look at women's contribution in the different areas. I'm comfortable and familiar with education. So I would start there, and we can go right back to 1911 when Mary Ince started the first all-female institution in St. Vincent. That's the girls' high school. And then the government took it over in 1914. She was made the first headmistress. So she has gone down in history as the first female to have served as a head of an institution. And then we look over time and we see why it's important for us. You know, women have come and women have gone, but today, women in education, why it's important to celebrate them. We see that women are making a profound impact in shaping minds and shaping futures. I recall many of my teachers at school who helped to inspire me and to motivate me and have certainly helped to shape what I've become today. And I think even as we look at education today, we ought to really congratulate and celebrate our women in education for navigating education, particularly in challenging times. Just a few, on a daily basis, we have women navigating challenging times. Lack of resources, and the list goes on. But we can go back to 2020, 2021, when we had the COVID-19 pandemic and also the volcanic eruption, and we really saw how women in education helped to overcome the challenges. Students didn't have devices. There was a problem of internet connectivity and all of these things, but still education, which is powered by women mainly, they were able to navigate the times. And today we can say that we are back comfortably enough to continue the struggle.
All right. You had said earlier, Empress,
Yes.
that when you mentioned education, you said that comparing it to back then,
To
you were
school,
saying,
yes.
yeah, back then. What aside from those points you mentioned, what differences would you say you are observing in education today as opposed to, say, 30 years ago, 20 years ago?
Let's say 25 years ago.
Okay,
'Cause that
25
would be
years
my
ago.
time. Yes. Things were a lot different. How we treated teenage pregnancy was different. How they brought up. See, we had adolescent classes. I don't see these things in existence anymore. We had things for students to do. Like for me, I chose music. In as much as I was in Sky, I chose music. I would have been in every little corner that they have a music class. I was there. Then I went on to music festivals. And then I chose music as what I wanted to do. And today, it is still standing strong for me because it's all I do. I don't do a 9-to-5 job. I left St. Vincent at a very young age, and I went to Trinidad. And again, a lot of people might say, some would remember my early childhood days. My schoolmates would remember me because I went to Marqua Government, and then I went on to Marqua Secondary School. I spent some time in Mountain View Academy. I grew up in a Seventh-day Adventist home. We were not rich, neither poor. We were just average. My mom was a nurse. My dad was in the SSU, police force at the time. And I was a little bit mischievous. And when I had my first daughter, I decided, listen, let me go to Trinidad and try to change things around. I didn't want that sort of background to be mine. And so I went and I furthered. I got into music, like I said, worked with bands, went into tourism. I had 5 nights, 6 nights working. So that's music for me. Paid my bills, sent my kids to school. I have 2 daughters. One is a police officer in Anguilla now. and the other one is still in Tobago. She's more like me. She likes fashion. She likes everything that glitz, But I took care of them, send them to school, send them to college off of this. And then when they were big enough now, they could actually say, yeah, mommy, music did, because my mother told me, no, music can't make you anything, And that's what I'm scared for now. The younger ones now who's coming up into music, if they're on the right track or not. That's what scares me now. And I would love to give back, and I will be giving back from what I have achieved over the time and years as an entertainer and an artist. But things were quite different when I was growing up. We had certain rules that really, they don't do that anymore.
Do you think there are more opportunities now for young people?
Yes, if we use it wisely, yes. Because back then, we didn't have social media. And social media is a tool, it's a tool. You have to be very careful with how you use it. It can make you and it can break you in a minute. So yes, there are more opportunities now if we use it correctly.
Mala?
Yeah, I just wanted to go back to something I think is fundamental that Fire Empress rose in speaking about the differences in education now and before. And you mentioned it. One of the most remarkable differences, I would say, is that children are now having children.
Yes.
So parents in my time were more mature.
Yes.
My mother had me at 32. Right? So quite a mature individual. But persons now are having children 15, 16, 17. We're seeing a lot of that. And so that maturity in raising them isn't really there. And you have the children now coming to school with all kinds of deficiencies in behavior. They have to do a lot of behavior modification and so on. So that is one of the biggest challenges, I would say, in education right now.
Would you say for women, the challenge was greater then than now?
Well, I don't know how to compare that, but I know from my own personal experiences, there were certain things that we respected growing up.
Yes.
Like your mother would speak and you dare not speak back
Open your mouth,
because discipline was a thing. But now I see it in school where the parents would come to school and they're telling the principal, me can't go with the picnic. So where is the discipline?
Yes.
So that's something fundamental.
And you would think, would you say that again, women play the bigger role than men in maintaining discipline?
Yes.
Than they're doing that is happening now?
Well, a woman's role back
Back
in the
then
day
was in the
a lot
house.
different
Yes.
from now.
Yes.
So the woman's role was centered around
Taking
taking care of the children, taking care of the home. So yes, her role back then was bigger than now because women are now moving into career pursuits, and we're talking about gender equality and financial independence and all these things.
Yes.
So, leaving the home a little bit behind. So I think back then.
So now it's beyond the home.
Yes.
Beyond the home. Okay. And your own view on that? It's a good thing, bad thing, or it's necessary, it's unavoidable? What would you say?
Biblically, they say the Bible have to fulfill, right? And all of these things are inside of there. So, but like I said, women were more at home back then. Now they are more thinking about how am I going to make myself better? They're not even thinking about 2 more kids. Women, the women now that can take care of themselves are not talking about children. Do you realize that?
That is very true. I was going to
Yes.
mention that.
Yes.
I know in your one of the things you mentioned in your song about speaking about the role of women. A woman's role is to reproduce and replenish the earth. A woman's role is something of worth. But I know a lot of women, Fire Empress, will argue with you today.
Yes.
Because
they're not staying home to make
I
babies
know a lot
anymore.
of women who have said emphatically that they don't want to have children. But of
Yes.
course there is the biblical argument
Yes.
and
Yes.
procreation and all of this.
And yet, in terms of sustaining life and living and production in the country, um, it is, well, the women are the ones who procreate. And I recall when he was Prime Minister, Dr. Gonzalez did raise that as an issue, given where we are in terms of the size of our population,
Yes.
that he was raising it as I don't know, as a concern a bit. Was that a proper thing to do? Would you say? Do you agree with that concern that that our population is not multiplying fast enough? Which comes back to the point you're making, that some women who decide or are deciding not to have babies.
I think the argument is one of private determination as opposed to
Their choice,
yes.
They when people make these choices, this is a choice to have. When you're going to have a child, if we're supposed to think about all the things that we want to have when you're going to have this child, we won't bother to make any, because you're thinking, can I send this child to school? Do I have money to buy Pampers? Is this man going to provide, all these things you have to put into your mind and think before you start making. But yes, the population has dropped from where we were, and it was need for concern. So I guess he spoke from a leader's point of view that we should think about. I didn't think he tell them to go and make them. I think he give them thought.
He's how you give them a thought.
Yeah. Food for thought. I mean, the population going down. What are we gonna do?
Well, I certainly understand from the point of view of national development. You need human resource. So I understand why you would have that concern and perhaps make recommendations around that. But at the end of the day, a woman's body and choice, those are personal decisions as well. So that's why I started to say it's a battle against the private and national.
Yes.
Seems from listening to you more and more, I'm realizing that, well, I have always known women's role in the society is it's so many different roles that a woman has. It's huge. It's really a whole set of multiple roles. But I want to go back to one point. I think I was refrained from that. I was going to mention one of the talking points in the last election, in a way where women were being enticed into having babies. Do you remember that?
Yes.
But do you think it's a good idea? That was a good idea.
Again, he may have been speaking from the same point of view as our peer. They want more children. All they can do is ask. It's up to us as women now. Is it a good choice for us? How are we going to take care of them? Because in as much as they said, is it still our responsibility?
As
For
women,
how many years?
Yes. As women.
Yes. So we have to be, it's still our choice at the end of the day.
I think one of you mentioned the question of women's role, or did you? Well, anyway, I'm going to pose the question. The women's role in health. Well, first of all, let's remind our listeners that, and ourselves, that our population right now is about 50-50. I think it's 49 point something, men to women. I think men is slightly, marginally above women. But the role is basically equal. I'm sure you would say that in terms of development and so on. But I was asking about the question of health. What role would you say women are playing now and have played in helping the country to maintain a healthy population?
Well, women have have played a role since the beginning of time. We go back to the story of creation and so on. And even historically, I remember going to a public speaking competition the other day that was held among schools involving schools across the Rabaka Dry River. And the little girl who won from Sandy Bay Secondary School, the topic was, who would you put forward as a national hero? It was about 2 or 3 years ago. And her proposal was Mother Sarah Batiste should be made a national hero. And so she outlined all the various reasons. And to be truthful, I never knew about Mother
About
Sarah
it.
Batiste before. But I learned there, and then subsequent to that, I did my research. And we know that Mother Sarah Batiste was a midwife, and she is heralded in across the Dry River for delivering a lot of babies. And I understand that no matter what time you called upon
She
her,
was
it could be
there.
2 o'clock in the morning, she would, come to your assistance and so on. So
And those were the days of using flambeau for light.
yes,
Flambeau.
because if I recall
Flambeau
well,
and donkey to move from one village to the next.
yes,
Yeah.
because if I recall well, she was born in sometime in the early 20th century, I think in 1909. And she went into, after a period of struggle, domestic worker and divorce. And at that time, divorce was a scourge
Yes,
to be divorced. So she went through a period of struggle. And then eventually an opportunity arose which sent her into nursing, into midwifery. So, so that was her story. And I lost my train of thought. but yeah, to say that women have been contributing.
We do have
from
some very, very strong women out, and one of them for me is the late Sister Pat, who was the Marco Secondary School head at that time, and she died a couple of years ago. And I always used to wish when I come back that I'll go visit her and say, "Sister, look at what I turned out to be. Look at what I have gained," But I didn't get that chance to. Razam is another one who has inspired me and taught me in school. Number one, school music, and I saw him. I want to sing like I want to be like. And I never got to come back and say.
Remind our listeners that Razom is a man.
But I do agree with the Sister Pat point, because I remember when I was in high school, I would always hear these stories about she was famous for giving young ladies who got pregnant
A second chance.
another opportunity at
Yes,
education. So
yes.
she's definitely a name
Yes.
that would come up in education.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
I
wanted to comment on the role of women in keeping the family together. I speak as a former educator, and for years, generations, showing up to school to deal with issues concerning children, it tend to be women, the bad, the good, and the ugly. What are your views on the role of women in keeping the family together?
Women are more vocal, in my observation, and they are more proactive when it comes to family. And perhaps it goes back to the origin, the traditional role of women as caretakers. So you do find, yes, I agree with you, that at PTA meetings, when you look, is 90%, if any males at all. And women, there's a problem at school, or there's an event in which parents can participate, and you find that it is the woman who would show up to support, and the woman who is there for the children. I'm not sure. I think Ryan mentioned earlier that the men are sort of slipping through the cracks. And that is true. You find women advancing, so women sign up, they go to do their courses at UE and so on. And the men not coming to the courses, but they can turn up at the KFC after the class for the women.
yes,
So,
yes.
I don't know.
Strange phenomenon. I've heard it said in the past, and I've experienced it to a point, that women are the chief breadwinners. Would you say that?
Now Oh, back then, because back
Well,
then,
I would like you to compare back then and as against now. What has been the situation, and has it changed over the years?
from my experience, what I saw growing up, I like I said, I grew up when my mom was working, my dad was working. I saw less of my dad because of police and in SSU, so he would be on weekends. So we always saw mom. Mom was easier to talk to. Whenever she mentioned dad, tell herself again licks, and that licks ain't gonna be no easy licks. So I mean, from back then to now, it got like that. So women have always took that lead role as in family. So and now in as much as the men have been drifting away more, you still find the women now have to be extra strong. You have to go and stand up, even if the son gets to prison. Will you see mommy coming to say, my son was a good boy, my son was always good, so women will always be closer to their offsprings than the men, and in that way protective, and it caused them to be like that. So forgive us.
Yeah, in relation,
Madam?
in relation to the idea of being the breadwinner, I think it goes back to the role of the traditional woman versus the modern woman, because traditionally the men were recognized as the breadwinners, while the women typically would stay at home and so on. But these days, as we mentioned before, women are moving on, we are advancing, we are educating ourselves, we are consuming the positions. Look at the public service. A lot of the heads in the public service, just as an example, the heads are women. So women have taken their places as leaders. They're making the money, and so they too can be deemed breadwinners, perhaps alongside the men, because men are doing their thing too, but women have definitely, compared to traditionally, we have definitely redefined the role of women in that sense.
Now that, well, I remember Sully singing a song basically saying that women are economists. Certainly in terms of managing the home and the affairs there too. But how would you see the role of women in this particular environment, where it seems there has been and there's going to be more pressure in terms of kitchen table issues in the home? For example, given the war that is happening in Iran, target in the Middle East, really, certainly Iran, the American and the Israeli attack on Iran, and the rest of it, oil is going to be affected, energy in general. How do you see that affecting the role of women in terms of managing the home?
Well, I think based on my own experience, I think women will be taking the lead in the home as economists, as Sule mentioned, because when I compare my husband and myself, we will go to the supermarket and we need to buy butter, we need to buy milk. He just goes and he will pick up, because it's the easy thing. This is 5 cents more than that one. So fine, So in terms of the mentality and economics and managing the dollars and cents and so on, I think women may be playing a leading role.
But is that new, or has
And a
that
better
always
one.
been the case?
It's a better one.
But hold on, we come to that one, because Pigeon may have something to say about that. But so you're saying,
Listen,
well,
long ago, women were forced to become who they are right now, because some men did not pick up the mantle the way they should. So it made women more stronger. It made women go out to fend for their kids. And with that, now that things have become more, you have social media and all of these. We have elevated in life, so things have changed, and they just use that little bit. Okay, well, I was working. We still count in the sense we are going to do this, and bit by bit, we became who we are. So back then, you could say that some were forced, but now we're not forced. It's choices now.
So would you say the climate now, the environment is more is like a headwind for women?
Not a
You know,
headwind,
a
but
push for women, an easier
a
kind of.
little easier, because now we can go and study. If I want to be an engineer, I can go and study. I can do this, and I can make myself a better person. Things are easier to do that than back then.
So the framework is different and it's easier. What would you say has contributed to that or have contributed to that?
I think technology has
Yes.
played a big part in it, because when we think about women's advancement, we have to think about how they have been able to progress. And technology,
Yes.
the world is a global village now. So I can, with my skills, stay at my computer
And make
and
money.
I can do blogging for a website. I can maintain social media accounts. I can do a lot of work remotely. So technology has paved the way for that kind of advancement for women. And what was the question again?
Well,
Sorry.
what are some of the things that have contributed to enabling women to do better than in the past, basically?
Yes, and I think a lot of international organizations have been pushing towards gender equality and advancement of women and so on. So even the provision of opportunities for study and for work abroad are harnessed from that kind of thrust.
Would you also say women have, as opposed to as compared to the past, have a greater access to capital now, money?
Well, access to jobs.
To making the money.
And perhaps I maybe I should have also said more specifically credit.
That's a good question.
Because you would recall that in the past, it was hardly, a woman would hardly be successful going to the bank to obtain a financial institution until the credit unions came in, to obtain a mortgage, for example, or even a loan to go and study, or even a loan for an operation. Those were challenging things for women. Would you say that those things have changed today?
For me, it was difficult. I could say from my experience, yes, because when I went for a bank account, my first bank account, it was, oh, you have to provide this, you have to provide this, you have to provide, and some of them I didn't have, but as I decided, okay, let me see how I can get myself independent, I got a store of my own.
But
I
the
got
point I'm
jobs.
asking, was it easier for a man over a woman for that to happen?
It was easier back then for the men. Now women with time, but back then it was very difficult for me.
Yeah, I think it's the climate now is more favorable to women, and again it goes back to changing roles and the fact that women are now advancing educationally and work-wise and so on. So the banks, the institutions, financial institutions are recognizing that women are financially sound, perhaps just as financially sound as the men, or even more,
Yes.
based on how they have advanced and so on. So I think in that context, the banks are favorable towards women. I would say just as men.
It's not because you have more women leading those financial institutions, and therefore they're partial to the women.
I don't think so.
No? Okay. I thought it had something to do with inbuilt bias or something like that. No? Okay.
But
Yeah.
taken into consideration though, women might be leading the financial institutions, but if we take a look at the boards, who are usually, what's the
Sitting
composition
there,
of the boards?
Interesting.
Based on my little knowledge, a lot of these boards of financial institutions are male dominated. So your point may not hold.
No, well, well, Pigeon would agree with me. It's not so much for in the credit union, Pigeon,
Yeah.
because in the credit union is one woman, one man, one vote. You know,
Okay.
it's democracy, and if you get on the board, based on the vote of in the membership. So if the membership sees you as worthy of being on the board, they vote for you, man or woman.
Okay.
So, but I don't know about the other institution. The other institution might be different. Although, although Marlon, in direct response to your question, the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as an example, it's not a man there now; it's a woman.
As the chair?
Yeah,
Oh.
Vera.
Oh.
And has
Yes,
been-
we have new boards. I forgot.
No, even
Yes,
before
yes.
that, even before that, she has been for a number of years actually.
Bank of St. Vincent?
Bank of St.
Oh,
Vincent and
okay.
Grenadines.
I thought the same person who headed NIS board was also Bank of St.
No,
Vincent.
no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
no,
All right.
no.
Okay.
All right. And the person who headed NIS board then was Lennox Bowman.
Right. Yes.
But he was on the board of the Bank of St. Vincent.
Oh,
and
but
Grenadines,
not the head. Okay,
not
I
the
thought
chair.
he was the chair.
Mhm.
Okay.
So there you have it, a woman there. I'm not saying anything about the Bank of St.
Yes,
Vincent and
yes,
Grenadines. I'm
yes,
just
yes.
pointing out that heading that institution, the board of that institution is a woman.
Well then to answer the question too, if the banks have confidence in women leading, even on their boards, then perhaps that filters down into the confidence that they have for women being mature and responsible enough to handle their financial commitments and so on.
But she herself, I think, professionally, she's an actuary. So, yeah. Pijan,
I want to get from Marla and Lonet. And Lonet Ned.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you satisfied with men's conduct in relation to the development of women and their progress? We have made progress over the years, without a doubt. How much have men contributed to the progress made by women over the years?
From what I have seen, I think that men have very big egos, and when women started to or decided that they wanted to start to make themselves better women and get jobs and be independent, I believe some men got angry at that, you know. Some fathers, because I would have heard complaints from parents, and when we say parents, we talk about mothers who would say the dad, he not contributing, or he see me working, so he ain't really putting much. Even I don't want to go down that road. We call these people as clean Christmas time. Christmas time, we do the road jobs. Do you realize that there are a lot of women there? Anybody ever tried to figure out why? Let me tell you why I think it is. I think it's because the women are able to manage this money better and make it make sense for the kids as opposed to the men. I'm sorry, men. If I pinch
Make
your
it make
bone,
sense.
sorry.
You're using the word sense
Sorry.
in a double
Yes,
sense.
yeah. As a calypsonian.
As a Californian. Yeah.
You know, but women know how to count the cents, you know. And men egos, sometimes they think, oh, she doesn't deserve this, or she shouldn't be in this place because I am the man. But you have to act the part too. And are they doing some, and some still need to pull the weight.
I want to ask about, well, I want to ask about governance, but before I get there, I want to ask about the area of housing. I remember the former prime minister I used to hear him say that in terms of the policies of the then government, they used to make sure that women who receive recipients of housing were largely women, and the explanation was, as I remember, that they're trying to kind of level the playing field, that ownership in terms of and mortgage in terms of housing, women were not as featured as then. So the attempt was to give the preference to women. I don't know if you guys recall that, but if you do or if you don't, would you think that would be a good policy?
My answer would be
How's the property ownership in terms of women?
yes and no. Yes, because there women across the playing field, women are at different levels financially. So some women will definitely be in need of that kind of push. So that's why I would say yes to that. But at the same time, I think that women, while it is important to provide opportunities for growth and advancement, I think there is merit too in allowing people, including women, to what's the word? To work for what they achieve, because it is in the process that we learn and we grow. You know, small things like learning. Well, you said when the prime minister would give houses already built. Right? Already built.
Yes.
So I'm talking about the educational aspect of it, learning about putting a house together, about materials, about So yeah, good and bad.
Okay.
I would say yes. I would always say yes to the women. I don't know why. I'm one. Not that I don't know why. Let me tell you why. One, a man cannot make a child. It's a woman. That's one. That's one thing we have over men. So I mean, we can make one of you. We can make a clone
Not by
of
yourself.
you.
Not by yourself.
Not by myself,
Okay,
but
Pijan would appreciate that. Pijan.
we're the ones who bring forth these kids. We're the ones who have to protect them for a larger part of their life. A dad can walk away right after he give a sperm, but a mother has to be there. She have to be there for 9 months by force, because they can't come out before 9 months. And then you're going to take care of that child, because that child is going to be under your care. Woman, I mean, yes, we say father and mother, but most times we see women. We don't see the dads. Give them the home, because they're the ones who have to find a home and hover these children and take care of them for about 18 years.
You're sounding like a feminist there.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I do, but I have 2 kids.
She sounds like a feminist politician.
I'm sorry. That's one reason why I think that the women should get the choice instead of the guys, because they have to take care of whatever they bring forth, even though you help me bring it and then you don't want to take care of it. So
Yeah, but you see, I see it through the lens of the fight for gender equality. I mean, for years we took a back seat. Yeah, we fought. We are equal. We could do this and we could do that. So now is the time.
Now is the time. Yes.
So for me, women who are disadvantaged, yes, I agree to providing the houses and so on, but those houses should not, under any circumstances, go to people who can afford
it
and can otherwise.
Okay.
That's my view on that.
Okay. So more disadvantaged women, you would say.
Yes.
Now the question of
Governance?
Yeah, question of governance. That too has been an area of struggle to get women in the forefront. Do you think the current situation that we have in the country, quite apart from those who head boards and departments and so on, in terms of top governance, do you think there's a fair distribution of women? Would you like to see more?
Well, I don't think that there's a fair distribution of women, but I think that's by choice. I think it's just that women are not stepping forward to, become members of parliament and so on. We have a few fair in between, but nonetheless, I think who we have had stepping forward have made their contribution. In recent times, we just had the first Speaker of the House of Assembly, a female. We had the first Governor General, a female, Susan Duggan and Rochelle Ford as the Speaker. We have had women before that performing commendably in governance. There's Renee Batiste, there is Yvonne Francis Gibson, and the lady from Union Island. What's her name again? I think she was
Stephanie
the
Brown.
first.
Stephanie Brown.
Stephanie Brown.
Mary
Stephanie
Hutchison.
Right, Stephanie Brown and Mary Hutchinson, after whose legacies propelled the naming of educational institutions after them. So we have had Gully McGill.
Yes.
She also became the deputy prime minister. We've never had a female prime minister, but hey, we've had a deputy. Monica Dakin also was the Governor General's deputy. So we've had quite a bit of.
Let us not forget Ivy Joshua.
Ivy Joshua, yeah.
She was
the
the
first female member
first.
of the
Yeah.
legislative
That's right.
council, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So women have performed commendably in governance.
And you would say against all odds,
Yeah,
against many odds, really, not all, but.
I agree with Marla.
Mhm.
I have nothing to add there.
Mhm.
And today, who we have in governance for women? We have the two MPs, not Winwood.
Yeah, actually, you have
George,
three.
and then we have some senators. We have Lavon King. We have
Mm.
Bassie's daughter, also
Chelsea Alexander.
Chelsea Alexander. What else we have there?
Chevron John.
Yes.
Chevron John,
Chevron
minister.
John, yes, and
And Ms. Bola.
Eastern George is
Deluxe.
And young Kissel Peters.
yes,
Yeah.
Opposition
Kissel,
senator.
right.
Yes.
Kissel Peters, the Speaker of the House again, is female.
And before that, we also, in the previous parliament, we had Ben-Ava Brown
Oh, yeah.
as
Yeah.
well
Uh-huh.
as
And
minister.
Shaka Bob.
And Shakel
Yeah.
Bob.
I
Mhm.
think Shaka was the youngest.
At the time,
senator.
yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But yeah, there've been other female senators over the years. And,
Bennett Frederick was the senator.
She
at
was.
one point.
she was.
Mhm.
So was Morgan,
Ashel.
Ashel
Yeah.
Morgan. So was Barnwell,
Yes.
Oh, Zita.
Zita Barnwell.
Mhm.
And I'm trying to remember.
So we do have.
And
Yes.
Anissa Batiste.
Anita
Yes.
Batiste was also briefly for a brief
But
time. But in terms, I remember Pigeon used to raise the question of why weren't they more elected? And Mara, you touched on it in a way, when you started to say, I think. Well, I'm trying to remember what you said. I don't recall, but
I was saying that women somehow are not stepping
Right.
forward.
right,
Yeah,
that's
to
the point.
governance at that level.
But is it that they hither to last election? Was it that they were not stepping forward, or what were the barriers? Were the barriers? Or what hindered them from stepping forward?
But I don't know about what hinders the women, but I know personally, people have said to me, oh, Mala, you have the personality and I think you'll do good in politics and so on. But
So when are you going to come forward?
I know I ain't coming forward because first of all, I think the domain as it has become is not what I would like to be involved in. I mean, people go back and they dig up this and they think about your parents
Yes.
and grandparents from generations gone by. I can't bother with all of that. So I will make my contribution in other areas, but I won't step forward as a.
And Lornette, your political ambitions.
I I don't share in those things. Politics is something that is very serious when it comes to St. Vincent. Politics, I try to.
So you're not serious?
I'm very serious about
Okay.
it, but I won't put myself, and I wish none of my family members decide that they want to become politicians, because it's a weight to carry, and I'm not prepared to give that sort of energy.
But from what you said earlier, women have been carrying weight
Yes,
since
but we
day
just
one.
careful. We just know the weight we want to carry.
Okay.
This is one weight that I don't want to
Okay.
carry. Politics,
see.
boy. If you notice too, when I sing my songs are always social commentary. Have you ever noticed that? That's because I politics, we too thin skin in St. Vincent and disrespectful to each other. And then I can't.
Yeah, but I respect. I have a lot of respect and admiration for
those who
the
go
women
forward.
who have gone and have made their contribution in the area. But it's just something that I don't see myself venturing into. That's just it.
Earlier in the song, Lorna, you said women have extra love for humanity.
Yes.
You don't think right now humanity need more love? That's all the
does.
humanity in St.
It
Vincent.
does.
Yeah.
It does.
How do you see that coming into being in terms of political involvement? Do you think if more women become involved in politics, that the society here would be kinder or more humane? You think?
I don't know what to think. I know. Right now, I want to say that women can very well influence the nature of the climate, but then I'm thinking about women's own reaction to other women. For example, you take the aftermath of a show like Mrs. SVG, and you see women, not the men, women pulling down
One
the other
another.
women, body shaming them, and so on. And then you ask the question, where is the compassion? So a part of me want to say, perhaps if more women venture into politics, we bring that love and the compassion. But then there are women who are really scarring the perception, my perception of this perception that, we have all this love for humanity.
I would like to get the panel's views on intimate partner violence as it relates to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It seemed to be an open secret that domestic violence is rampant, but yet the vocal women say very little or nothing about it, especially in these forums. What are your views on intimate partner violence, and how can we reduce it?
Well, I speak personally. I've never been hit by a man. I don't think that I will ever be hit by a man. But the truth is, no man hated me. No man can't, right? Hit me. And I think as women, it is a matter of setting your standards from very early. I think sometimes in relationships, we ignore a lot of the red flags, right? And then on the flip side, we don't lay down our standards. We don't articulate them clearly and settle them firmly enough, right? So that's one thing I find from the get-go. And then I do agree that there are many situations where women are in abusive relations. And of course, we're not just talking about physically, but there's verbal abuse as well. And are not speaking out because of how they deem society would view them as the weaker sex, and as less than. So, but that's something definitely I don't agree with, and I would recommend that any woman who is in such a relationship finds a way of getting out or getting help.
Do you think those relationships, those experiences are usually materially based? Are they based on the material means of the?
I think some relationships may be based on material because, yes, we do. I know of cases that are close to me where women basically stay in the relationship because they can do better. They don't have a job, and this person is providing for them and the children. So they basically, um, you know, withstand all that is given to them as it relates to abuse. But at the same time, I think that many women stay in relationships because of, again, how they would perceive, how they would be perceived by society. And to me, that is just so wrong, which is why, going back to the story of Mother Sarah Batiste, especially at the time when she got divorced, because she was born in 1909, I think, and she got divorced at 40, which means that that would have been in the 1950s, at a time when people were looking down on you for even getting divorced in the first place. You were expected to just stay in the relationship and withstand whatever. But she got out, and I think we could use her as a shining example of really getting out and getting help when you're in that kind of relationship.
Yeah, Pigeon,
But there's this view that women themselves contribute to the culture of violence to the extent that they encourage their youngsters, their young boys to treat women, their counterparts in certain ways. Because a mother will always be a mother, and it doesn't matter what her son does. She will be supportive.
Respect and love begins at home, right? Self-love for women. Let me talk from a woman perspective because it's International Women's Day. Women are supposed to love themselves. You're supposed to love yourself so much that when you get into relationships, all these things are supposed to be put on the table before you get into such relationship. I mean, sometimes we start verbal and then the verbal get physical. And then you don't know how to get up because you have 6 children that you're wondering how you're going to take care of. I mean, we need to, and that's why I said women have choices. We make choices. We become, for us to become who we are in life, we are the ones who have to set those certain stones. And if we set the certain stones right and prevent it from the get-go, what are you doing hitting somebody? You're not supposed to. And once it starts, walk away. Walk away. If you get away with just a scratch, run, because the next time you might not be able to.
This is the 3 cultures that women should avoid in terms of the way they treat women. African, Jamaican, and Vincentian.
Oh boy. Vincent.
so hold on, Pigeon. Jamaican and Vincentian, not African.
They are by descent.
Okay.
But in terms of treatment of women,
Okay.
the reputation, there's this reputation that as affixed to Africans, particularly West Africans, Jamaicans, and Vincentians. We treat women badly, generally speaking. So I was wondering if that coincides with your experience, and if is it that you would agree with that.
Well, I think we would be in a bad situation if we really are categorized in the same slot with West Indians and Jamaicans. But I wanted to go back to the point that you raised before, where you were talking about women sort of engendering the culture of abusiveness in the children. And I think it ties into the theme of this year's International Women's Day, which is give to gain. And indeed, what we put in is what we're going to get out. So women, I think, needs to understand a lot of the challenges that we're facing in society in the context of their own actions with the children. So when you come to school as a parent to defend your child who has obviously done wrong, or in another case, you do nothing in relation to the wrong that your child has done. You haven't acknowledged it, and you haven't had your child, acknowledge that this thing is wrong, then we have a problem. And so when those same children grow up and they come back and they break our homes and they end up in the abusive relationships and so on, I think the women who engender that type of culture in the children from young ought to take some of the blame,
All right, so let me go to the WhatsApp message and read out. There's somebody here with a set of questions. Let me pose them. Good morning, gentlemen and ladies. Can I ask a few questions, if I may? Of course you can. One, what does empowerment mean to them, you? That's one question. So I'll allow for your response, and then we go on to the other question, three others. So I think the question is addressed to you. What does empowerment mean to you?
Empowerment means uplifting one another. So it goes back to what we were talking about, women sort of bashing and pulling down one another. Empowerment means collaborating with one another instead of pulling each other down, inspiring one another, motivating each other as women so that we are moved to do positive things and we can uplift our society. That's what empowerment means to me. Fire?
Yeah, that's what it is. I was about to tell the same thing, but I think she said it in a nutball there. For me, I was given certain things that I have to. How can I make other people? What can I do to make other people, better? I don't even know if I'm saying this thing here right, and I don't think I did say it right. But yeah, I'm not going to add any more.
Yeah. The other question the person is asking is, what advice would you give to yourself?
I always try to better myself every day. Every day, in everything I do, I try to make sure that I better it. I'm always open for constructive criticism. Whenever let's say I do a performance, I always like to go back and look to see how I can better it and to see if I actually did something good or did something bad. So yeah, that's for me.
I would, in terms of advice, I would probably use your song as the yardstick. All of the qualities. For me, your song is a beautiful manifestation, beautiful illustration of what a woman should be. Embracing so many themes. Like we spoke about the role of the family.
Yes.
And love for humanity and all of these things. And the adjectives, I think, that you use to describe the woman, for me, it is on a daily basis, these are the things that I would strive for, to be virtuous, having high moral standards. This advice I give to myself every day. You have to set standards. Pride and dignity. These are things that I remind myself of all the time. Yes, there are times when we face adversity, and yes, we might have challenge and so on. But in spite of all of that, we maintain our pride and our dignity.
Yes.
You spoke about productiveness, or productivity, or something like that. Again, I remind myself as a woman, just as a man should, we need to make our contribution to build the society. So this is something I remind myself, selective. You mentioned women are selective, and that I am, no doubts about no doubts about that. And I am trying to bargain, thing like that. You know, the bravery and women taking leadership roles. These are things. So I would often step out and do my part as it relates to leading the charge sometimes. So yes, these are things that I remind myself of.
And the third question, the person is asking, what is the most important challenge that women face today?
The most important challenge that women face today. I would say it is the challenge of balancing the traditional and modern roles. Because while we have established that some women have chosen to go down the path of um, wiping out the traditional role. They don't have children, so the home care and the taking care of children and all of that, that's not in the picture. Many of our women assume their roles as procreators, and at the same time, they have big ambitions for career and for making money and making a contribution in society. So I would say definitely it is that achievement of the balance between the traditional and modern roles. How do we as women take care of our families and make sure that our children are okay? I want to advance myself educationally, but at the same time I have to study the well-being of my children. So should I go overseas and leave them in the care of somebody else? So these are the kinds of things that we have to consider and balance as women today.
And the fourth question is, what is the greatest hurdle you've overcome?
We have to think. We have to think. The greatest hurdle that I have overcome as a woman.
Yeah, this person is asking some challenging questions.
Yes. I have overcome a lot of challenges. But I would say, although today women have come a long way, we have fought and we have fought immensely for gender equality, and we have certainly advanced as it relates to that phenomenon. But still, I think subtly built into our systems is discrimination. I think it's very subtle. So sometimes you even like in our classrooms, you might hear the teachers saying, all right, so this little boy will lift the desk, right? Suggesting that the female child should not lift the desk. But if we are equal, what a man can do, a woman can do. And we are seeing women venturing into male dominated areas in construction. And, so that sort of what we teach in terms of gender is important. And even what we do and accept in our systems of work and so on is also important. We sometimes see subtly a little discrimination coming out in that sense.
Somebody else is asking, well, as a matter of fact, Coach, he was trying to call a while ago. I didn't take the call because you were speaking at the time, but he's saying, I want to ask if any of the song they wrote, I think it means you, if given a chance to rewrite, will you? And what song you will love to do over?
Okay. One of my songs that I did was Painter. Painter was done in 2013. It was never competed here in St. Vincent, where I talk about all of the leaders around the Caribbean and give them praises. Yeah, I would go back and try to repent that, But all my calypsos, I am very, very, very proud of.
So you was, because he was asking, the viewer was asking if you would alter this I Am Woman
If
in
I-
any way.
No. No,
Yeah.
I don't think so. Because that song, when I look at how that song was written for me by Prince Unique, a writer from Tobago and also a singer. He did that song, Ouch, Miss Mary, with Sonny Bite You, right there, right? But anyway, he's the one who wrote that song. And we sat together because I told him I wanted something that I can express. And if you notice, he started from the Garden of Eden. And then we went right down into life, straight down into the death of a son, so I don't think I would rewrite that at any point. It still stands
I
today.
want to
Before you come in, Mal, let me just remind our listeners that today is International Women's Day, March 8th, and in keeping with that, we are discussing today how women in St. Vincent and how Vincentian women are contributing to development of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So we've been talking about that with Marlon Anton James and also Lornette Fire Empress Ned. So you are free to call us now and suggest or ask questions of our guests this morning. The number is 457-9997, and I will take you to WhatsApp or straight to us. Marlon, before you answer, there's a call. Let's take this call. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon. The senators, they think they were Michelle Fife also as a senator.
Correct. Yes.
And there might have been another lady, last name George.
Juliet George.
Oh, Juliet
senator.
George.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
From America. Yes. You're on the ball, man.
So which era is that? The name doesn't sound familiar. to
Juliet
me.
George was
Juliet
during both of them were during the ELP.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remember.
And
Go ahead.
she might have been president of the Women's Arm. I'm subject to correction on that. I'm not 100% sure.
Yes. Juliet George was.
She was? Okay.
Yes, she was.
Right.
But yes, you're correct.
Is Fire Empress able to entertain question outside of women's issue that I discussed today?
Ask the question, and she may be. If it's proper, I'm sure she would answer. But ask the question.
Do you still take part in the female competition in Trinidad, the Calypso competition?
Oh, well, no, not for the last. Since 2017 was my last when I made the finals for the competition. I decided that I wanted to just step back from there and come home. I made a lot of different choices since 2017, so no.
Terry Lyon, she won 4 competitions in Montserrat.
Yes.
Over the last 4 years,
Yes.
female competition.
Yes.
Are you eligible to? I know you
Yes,
haven't
I
taken part
was.
in.
I was
you
there.
eligible?
Yes, I was. Let me take you back. Before she started, which was around 4 years ago, I did represent and I came second. But simply because of choices again, around that time, which is in December, I have a contract where I do all ears night for Sandals. And before then, I think my all ears nights were what has kept me from participating in that event. I tend to make more on that night financially.
Yeah, because that's in December. And
Yes.
Last question. I spoke to you on a radio station in St. Kitts many years ago. You were saying that you had to go from Tobago to St. Kitts and you had to travel to 6 different countries.
6 different
where
countries.
you leave 9 o'clock.
Yes.
And you reach 8 o'clock in the night.
Yes.
You remember, right?
Yes, I remember.
And I was saying, I would say you probably could have just fly up to Miami and then down to St. Kitts, because artists do that when they perform at the St. Kitts Music Festival. They usually
when you don't
flying
know.
from No.
When you don't
Yeah.
know that those are the things. I know these things could never happen to me again. And like we say, we take these things as stepping stones. These are some of the things I did, yes, in the name of music and competing.
All right, so have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, thanks for calling. Yes, Mala, you.
Oh yeah, I was just lending support to Fire Empress's decision that even if she were given the opportunity to change the song in any way, she wouldn't, because I do think that it is a beautiful song.
Yes.
It's really empowering, celebrating female strength, and not just the lyrics as we've discussed before in terms of a woman's resilience and capability and women supporting other women and so on. All of that is beautiful, but I think the music too, the dynamism of the melody itself, I think the pleasing conversation between the brass and the vocals, the arrangement, syncopated, and the overall upbeat tempo of the song, I think all of that helps to illustrate the beauty of a woman. And I just wanted to say that I really do think it's a beautiful composition all around.
Thank you.
Pijan, okay. I generally, at this time and going forward, what are some of the areas you think would be of immediate attention to women for improvement or empowerment, however you want to discuss it?
I think for one, as a start, mentality. We need to work on our mentality as women, especially woman to woman. And I started to talk about it when I gave the example of Miss SPG. I find very often we do not celebrate each other as women as we ought to. So a woman does something, she achieves something, and then you find other women sort of susuing the crab in a barrel type of mentality comes out. But as women, we need to celebrate each other, and when we do something, we clap and we inspire others to achieve as well. So I think the mentality, first of all, we need to do a little bit of work as it relates to that.
But Mala, what do you think contribute to this? Does status or politics? Before you answer, we have a call, so we go back to the call. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Good afternoon, Mr. Ryan,
Good afternoon to you.
and your panel. Well, I guess you know who's speaking.
Not yet. Sounds like sister.
Sister, yeah.
Good to hear from you.
well,
How are you feeling today?
Not too bad. I just came back. I just went out and come back.
Okay.
So I was hoping that your program will be on. I just want to use it to do something good. I'm having a fundraising barbecue, raise some funds to help out my situation on Friday. At my home.
But just in case some people are hearing your situation, the term your situation for the first time. What is your situation?
Oh, well, I'm battling with cancer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So, so to get some expenses to deal with it, I am having a fundraising barbecue on Friday. Yeah.
But you need to give some more details. Where, when, and all of that.
Oh, well, okay. It's the road leading to where it's number 2 used to be. It's in the integrated medical center. You're turning up there.
At the
and
roundabout.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not hard to find because I'm just opposite the ice cream place. I think a lot of people know about Treats. The ice cream place they have right up inside there. In the road, in the middle road.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, that's the road like leading to like, oh God, what is this restaurant?
Queen Drive.
Signature
And
No,
Lounge.
not
Signature
Queens
Lounge.
Road. You're coming on the bridge.
Okay, well, yeah, you turn off on the bridge
then you
and you
turn
go
on.
to Signature
Yeah, you turn up.
Lounge, is as Fine Person saying. Vinlek.
Yeah.
Vinlek.
Signature, right? Yeah, that road could lead you to the signature too.
All right. All right. So I think it's clear. But
Yeah.
how's your treatment going?
Well, not too bad. I had to be doing 3 blood tests
Mm-hmm.
every 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
No, so to keep check to know what is what and what is not.
And your Miss Dr. Taylor,
Dr.
is it?
Taylor, the gynecologist.
Yeah.
Oh my dear.
Oh,
She's okay. She's okay. She's okay. Yeah, but I guess I only hearing from her, but I wouldn't see her until next month, because next month I have to go back to doctor.
okay.
Yes. So I do hope that she is around.
Yes. You mean you
Yes,
do hope
because
that
I
she
tell you,
remains in
Mr.
St.
Ryan,
Vincent and the
those
Grenadines?
people- Huh?
You mean you do hope she remains here permanently?
Yeah. To help out. Oh my. Up to yesterday, I saw a lady and she was telling me the same. When she has the same problem, and she said, "I know your face." So we just meet up at Georgetown and say yes.
At
Say, "Oh
Modern
my God,
Medical?
yeah, Modern Medical. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay. And that's where a lot of Cuban doctors are there, Cuban medical professionals are there?
Yeah. They have a good bit of them up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they in different fields and so, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, doing different things and stuff like that.
But let me ask you, if
Uh-huh.
if it happens that they're requesting of terminating the medical mission in St. Vincent, if it comes to that, how would it leave a gap?
It may leave more than a gap.
Mm.
It will leave more than a gap, because sometimes the gaps are small, but it will leave more than that gap.
Mm-hmm.
We need them. We definitely need them in all different fields. We need them.
Mm-hmm.
We need them, Mr. Ryan. We really, really, really need them. And if I tell you we need them, I don't know if others would come out like me, because you don't know me. I open up. I don't have anything to hide, but we need them.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely need them.
All right.
So, when I read about this thing with Jamaica, I say to myself, but Lord, what is happening? I don't think we could go to that. We don't think we reach into that at all. Because it wouldn't be easy here for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I'm telling you the honest truth. We need them around, Mr. Ryan. We need them.
All right.
Definitely.
Well,
need them.
remind us again, when is the date for your barbecue?
The 13th, which is Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and the 14th is the Heroes Day.
Yes.
Right, so the
National
Friday.
Heroes Day. All right.
Yeah.
Well, all
So
the best. I hope it goes well.
I want to have lunches by 12. Go back
Okay.
from 12. Go back.
And what do you have on the menu?
We have in barbecue pork and chicken, and we have in rice, lentil peas, stew lentil peas. We have in potato salad, tossed salad, and stuff like that.
So what happened to the fish?
Oh, can't take on the fish.
And the crayfish. This is crayfish season.
I know.
So-
I know. I understand, because everybody asking me about that, but it's in a farm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, all the best, and hope it goes well.
Maybe the other Friday, maybe we might have fish.
All right.
Yeah. Okay then, Mr. Ryan.
Take
so you
care.
can just
All the
pass
best.
it on for me, please.
Sure. All right.
All right. And I hope I have your support.
Yes, I'll try to be there.
Okay then. Okay.
All right. Take care. Bye bye.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention the idea of optimism in the face of adversity, and it is something that I think is a theme that came out from Fire Empress's song, where she was talking about life is a challenge for me as a mother, but life is a privilege, and motherhood is an honor. So even though there's the challenge of motherhood, the optimistic side is that, she's still seeing that, the privilege of being a mother,
Yeah, there's good
and
out of it.
right, and so on. So I wanted to mention that in the context of as the story of my own mother. Um, about 3 years ago, she passed away, and at the funeral, the eulogy spoke about bouncing back, because even in the face of her own adversity, being diagnosed with a fatal illness, which, by the way, was not the cause of her death. So I just wanted to draw that to sister's attention, similar to your case, sister. But the way that she dealt with it, I never saw any sort of, like, she never bent, she never showed any, sort of thing. So I just wanted to say that in the context of remaining positive. And, I wish you all the best as you go through your treatment and so on.
There's a question here for you to answer. Good afternoon to everyone and happy International Women's Day to all women listening. Question to both of the panelists, both of you. Given what they know now at their age and in the current world we live in, what advice would they give to younger girls?
Well, first of all, I would advise women younger than me to equip yourself for the challenges of the time. You have to build your own capacity in terms of your strength to withstand the times. In many areas of work that are male dominated, for example, you're going to where women, there are few advancement spots for women. You're going to find that women become rivals, for spots to advance. So you have to build that capacity to withstand the test of the times. So that's the first thing. Also, I think that a lot of psychological insecurities usually cause other women to sabotage women. So again, it is going your own nature, what you become or who you are will allow you to navigate the challenges. So my advice would definitely be to invest in yourself, empower yourself, so that you can definitely ride with the times.
And I will continue to say, information is out there for us as women now. It's easier to be informed. Listen, set goals. And when I say set goals, women, you know what you want in life. Set your goals and stand by them.
All right. So the number to call is 457-9997 if you want to contribute to our conversation today on International Women's Day. We're talking about how Vincentian women are contributing to development in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, good afternoon. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing okay, and you?
Yeah, well, I'm all right. Let me say blessed greetings to all the ladies inside the studio with you.
Okay.
By Empress.
Yes.
Very strong Black African Empress too. She had a song with an African. I don't know much of the song, but I little one. With Africans supposed to, we are all African, we're supposed to unite, something like that.
Children of the drum.
Right, that song, right there. And I know that is a very hopeful song, that, and I know you're singing a lot of the fans, sending a message to the people, but it's just leave to the people and protect the message. And, try to be better off in life. When it comes on woman, I do think woman carry a heavier burden than a man. Because The reason for that, because the man them don't want to do what they're supposed to do. You know, I'm a man too, you know, I'm be honest with you, but I don't think I, you know, going to be dishonest to anyone that I be in love with. You know, you have to treat the ladies good, and then I think, and you know, it go both ways. Some ladies, no matter how you treat them, you know, it's still a problem. You know? So we have to look at it in a different angle. But I do think the men them, they need to do better. Especially you have a children with a lady, a girl, or whatever, just put it this way, use the word girl. Because some of them are a teenager and having children, and then they know each children belongs to them. But there is no help. And when they ain't have no help, no, Charlie brought in that lady alone, she don't have a job. Come on, that's a big problem. You know, I can't recall where I came from. My father used to have a whole heap of, you know, he had a bakery, he had things. You know, he had 2 children with my mom. You know, he left us alone. And then we have to struggle by ourselves. My mom just, you know, she was in tears at the time I watched my mom crying. And it hurt my heart so bad. You know, but she was a spiritual Baptist and she teaches us how to say our praise, and you know, and then I started to listen to reggae music, and I know the truth is in reggae music. I became one of the followers of reggae music and spread the same message around. I don't go, you know, go out there and sing, but I go out there and sing to the youth, them, who I can really get to and help motivate them and try them, you know, to do the best and tell them the right, you know, lead them the right way, you know. And he will have a bakery. Mr. Ryan probably know, the Bellingy used to be up in Firebun Hill up there, you know. He was my father.
Okay.
You know, he have all kind of animal, and I used to go over there like when I was a little boy, like 7 years old. My mom sent me over there. And then I go say, Dad, when that sheep they got lamb, you'll give me one? Yes, son, I go give you one. You know, to the time he never give me one, he passed away. You know? So these are the things that some fathers kind of dangerous to them children. And, you know, I'm just saying this, you know, because you want my heart to know when you have a children and then, you know, healthy parents carry the burden, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, in a positive in the sight of the Almighty. That's my word I got to say. So, and the young youth, them, they need to do better. Because they never go to headwood on them head and all these kind of things. They should have been more respectable and more obedient, you know, and just get the medication and just move on and just live up and give God thanks and praise. But if they not do that, you know, it's a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
And the parents them need to spend more time not strengthening the youth them when them are doing right. Strengthen them when them doing the right thing. If they're wrong, and either my son or my daughter, I'm not going to give them no power if they're wrong. And even though if they're right, we still not going to give them the power. Because, you know, we all have to live together as one. And we have to teach one. Teach one, and we go on and then carry on the blessing and love the Almighty God. That's all I have to say, man. Big up on yourself, lady, near and far. You know, I just say a woman there, so big up on yourself, no respect. Blessings to you all, yeah?
To you too, my brother. All the
All
best.
right, my brother.
Good.
You hear where he talk about if they be have some goat for tie out Panamani. Listen, chores. These are the things that made us. Well, it made me who I am today. I can't just sit. I know that I had certain things to do. You get up in the morning, you know, whether you have a goat to tie out, whether you have water to go for. Your water had to be there to bathe. You had to go for your water to bathe. You didn't have all these amenities back then. I mean, they're quite privileged now. We're quite privileged now.
Yeah, and I think even though these circumstances may be different now, so some people don't have goats or cows, and so I think what's important is to establish that structure for the children and to have them focused
In the home.
focused on doing things.
Yeah.
Many of them just are left to the gadgets
To this.
and they do whatever and they grow however and that's how we
And that's the product we get.
Problems
Well,
in school.
let's come back to
Yeah.
that. We have a call to take it now. Greetings, Kojo. Welcome to the program.
Good day, Koto. Good day. I call it. The point I want to talk about the woman role in the son's life. I think a lot of times the women, not blaming our woman, but they don't teach the son how to love a woman enough. They give the son a kind of love, but it's not the love of how to respect a woman, how to treat a woman, how to keep. And I think that's where it's lacking in young men. You didn't tell me my shirt was on backwards. I didn't know that. And so I think that's where the fault is. The relationship between the boy and the mother is kind of like, oh, I treat him nice. Like, there's no hugging. I don't think they give love to the boys. They think they love them, but I don't think they give love.
Kojo, hold on, don't hang up, Kojo. Let me invite Marla and Fire Empress to engage you a bit.
I like how he said that. And you hear the first name that he called? The mother. The mother is the one that is supposed to. Where is the dad in all of this? Where is the dad that is supposed to help the mother to treat? Because it's what he doing. You can't see his mother ill-treating a man. Most times he see the dad. So where is the dad in all of this? Why is it only the women?
That was my thought.
Yeah, but Fire Empress, the point I'm trying to make, I'm not saying that the dad is not supposed to be there, but I'm saying a woman is the one who could show the young man how to teach, how to respect women. And I mean that that's the point I'm making. I'm not saying that the dad is not supposed to be there. I'm not excluding that. I'm just saying that the respect of a woman should be taught to her son. So when he grow up, he know how to respect a woman. You don't have to ask how to respect a woman anymore. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. Respectfully, caller, I want to say something along the lines of Fire Empress. I think it takes the two to really set the example of respecting a woman, because the man can certainly model for the son how to respect a man. So I think reinforcement.
We're going back in the circle again, because what I'm saying to you, the woman.
But Coach, hold a minute. Let her finish her thoughts, and you come back in. Let her finish her thoughts. Yeah, Mahala.
Yeah. So I was saying that it takes both the men and women to play their part in shaping whether boys or girls. So I do understand the point that you're making, because we have established before the love that mothers have for the sons, and the closeness sometimes has developed. So the mother is in a good position to influence the son strongly, and I do agree with that. But all I'm saying is, at the same time, a man has his role to play as well, because as a father, the son can look up to you, and you have the perfect opportunity to model what respecting a woman should look like. That's all I'm saying.
And the point I'm making is a cycle where the woman teaches man how to love her or to love his wife, because the mother does that.
Yes.
And he in turn now will learn how to teach his daughter what it is for a man to love her.
Okay.
If you understand, the whole
so
cycle will go on.
We're saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's the point I'm making. I think we need to, men have to stand up, as you say, to teach the daughters how what is love, what is acceptable from a man, and also a woman has to teach the boy or the young man what he should do for a woman.
Okay, right.
And what, teach, because I don't think we can actually practice and teach love in the right way. That's the point I'm trying to make. We think we show love by, we give him a shoes, we give him a this, those are not love. Those are things that you have to do or you like to do. Love is respecting. That's the word. That's the biggest word in there. Because once you develop total respect for people or for human, you can't beat them up. You can't treat them. So that word respect is the key. And I don't think we teach that a lot in life, both male and female.
Yes, and it's important to do that at home because, as you say, it's a cycle.
That's
Because what happens
Yeah.
at home transfers now into school. Do they love and
Yes.
respect their schoolmates? What happens at school? You know, so
Right.
it
Right.
it
That's what I'm
really have
saying.
a domino effect.
Yes, that's the point I'm trying to make. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right, Koto.
All right, then.
Thanks for calling. Have a good day. All right. Bye-bye.
You too.
All right. So we are discussing how Vincentian women have and are contributing to development in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We've been talking, in studio, sorry, we have Marlon Anton James and Fire Empress leading the discussion on the topic. Folks, we have been talking about a number of areas. We've been touching on a number of areas, but one of the areas we didn't touch on, a couple really, is agriculture. Agriculture being if some people say, the backbone of life and living in St. Vincent. What would you say has been the role of women in ensuring food production, local food production in St. Vincent? Should we see more of that in this period?
Women.
Yes.
In farming. I think we don't we have women in farming in St. Vincent right now, do we?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Perhaps not enough, but
not enough. Again, women choice. You see how it is out there? Is your choice if you choose to go into agriculture. Agriculture, as I know it back in school, whenever you didn't get to make it to secondary school, they send you through senior 1, senior 2, senior 3, and then we pick up whatever trade you wanted. And then I think agriculture was also a part of that.
But there's the argument now that
there's not enough women.
Well, that too. But the argument now is that agriculture should not be seen as a subsidiary or as a secondary area of production and living. It should be looked at as one of those prime areas. That's would be the argument now. Some people make that argument. And over the years, people have been making that argument. And women have been making, significant contribution to agriculture in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, in all the areas of agricultural production, and even the area of value.
I come from the valley where the food basket, they call it the food basket. I remember that. Mespo, big up the people in Mespo, big up the female farmers in Mespo, because I know we have
a lot of female farmers.
Yes, we do. And there's some who not even stay on the farms, but they're in the town selling their produce after. No enough respect for all my strong women. No.
I think I'm not sure that I am so versed and knowledgeable about agriculture, but one of the things that I've noticed, and I think there's room for improvement, is how we perceive agriculture. And I think it dates back to the days of slavery. And so parents now don't want to hear the children going into agriculture. I mean, that we have moved beyond that. You need to go into medicine or law or something, right? Not agriculture. But I think if we could do more from the level, let's say, of the Ministry of Agriculture in glamorizing the domain, then it would help, because farmers now are using technology to perform their duties as it relates to farming, and then there's agro processing and so on that has a lot of scope for income generation. So I think if we walk towards glamorizing agriculture a little bit more, then we may see students venturing into agriculture. And that's good for our economy. I know of a lot of agro processors who are doing well. producing, whether it is bottled peanuts or chips. Afro.
Yes,
There's
the
a
plantain
brand.
chips,
Yeah, there's
Afro.
a brand. She has a range of products and so on.
The peppers,
Yeah,
the
and
seasonings.
when you look at the process of production, I just have a lot of admiration to people who are involved in agro processing.
One name that stands out and has stood out over the years is Erica McIntosh in terms of
The peppers and yes.
I'm not sure to what extent she's into it, but there are a number of other women who are into the area of processing.
Yes, I know that Erica has expanded far and wide. She's on the markets in the US and in the UK and so on. That is a brand that is definitely established, and she has been recognized on a few occasions. I remember the best of SPG when they used to have that. She was recognized as the best for agro processing and for her work with the pepper sauce and so on. And I mean, on the ground, even locally, she has had a lot of good reviews for the products. Of course, Vinci Fresh is posing a lot of challenge now because people love the products coming out from Vinci Fresh as well. The ginger and thing marinades and the different products coming. Yes, man.
Everything. yes.
But a lot of the people who are on staff at Vinci Fresh are women.
Women as well.
I just want to say that. Also, there are a number of women who are into other areas of agriculture, like fishing, for example, in the fish processing and so on. I have to mention my friend from Barley who is into blackfish production. She is, and she does a good thing marketing overseas.
That's V. Solomon.
Yeah. You've had a product already, Pigeon. Yes, she's from Barley. She's into a lot of processing, and she has a fairly strong overseas market. Certainly in New York, just told me. But yes, even in like women really feature in all aspects of production in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And again, come back to the points you are making that women is who keep things going, keep
the ball rolling
in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Yeah. The other area that we didn't mention much, and we could do that now, sports. I know at the very beginning we talked about Pigeon, the unfortunate incident with the female student, but women also feature well in sports. Anybody that comes to mind?
Kaniki Alexander. She not Kaniki,
Shafika Maloney.
She is the most recent talk of the town. We see her featured on billboards and I think she's featured on the Flow directory, it's the phone directory and so on. Of course, she was the first, I think she gave us the first bronze medal in the 800 meter at the Central American and Caribbean Games. So that is definitely an accomplishment that we are proud of.
And did she place fourth at the Olympics?
Yes, and fourth at the Olympic as well. Yes, and in other areas of sports, we've seen a lot of women emerged and have set good examples for others. I remember what's her name? She was at high school when I was there, but she was below me. Sancho Little.
Oh yeah.
Sancho Little, who eventually migrated to play basketball in the States. So she plays professional basketball. Then there's Kiniki Alexander, another medalist in the Central American and Caribbean Games. So in those persons, we have a lot of inspiration for young sportsmen and women. And I only one thing I would wish is for these students who eventually become professionals. I wish that they could give back more to the as it relates to the development of sports in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I know when you go out there and you get into the professional leagues and so on, it's about advancing yourself and making it out there. But is there any way? What's his name from Union Island as well? Well, we're talking about women,
Yes.
but the basketballer from
Yes,
Union
I know what you
Island.
mean.
Yes, so how can our athletes, even when they make it on the international, regional, international stages, how can they give back and mold more athletes? I think that's a question for us to consider.
And because
while we into the sports, it's the female footballers and the female cricket teams in St. Vincent. I got to see a lot of them recently only here, and I'm like, wow, we got these groups. So maybe if these groups can actually come to life, have more things so that people can stay off of social media and do more than just sitting, I don't know.
the air of business, we didn't mention that.
In business, who do we have in business? Another schoolmate of mine, Shafia London. Shafia London is an outstanding personality in business. I think she was the first CARICOM CEO to head the Banks Holding Limited brand. So Shafia is definitely out there in terms of business on the regional, international stage.
Actually, sorry to cut you, madam, but I'd reached out to her to be on the program today, but she has a clashing activity with young women, apparently.
Oh, okay,
So
right.
she's herself is celebrating or recognizing International Women's Day.
Yes. So Shafia would have been a fitting person to sit on this program to talk about her journey, which would have been, I'm sure, inspirational to a lot of persons. But women are definitely making a contribution in business across
fashion.
Yes, across. I came across a video last night of Lisa Cardis with the brand Pushell.
Yes, Pushell.
Speaking so articulately, about her business and about the business being women driven. Yes, so.
And of course, we haven't forgotten the area of culture. where both of you excel, in which both of you excel. So we need to at least. How do you see women excelling in the area of culture?
Well, Mala, talk first. Talk first, Mala.
Alright, so I mean we've had a lot of women excelling in culture. We go back to 1967, I think. That's the year when the national anthem was written, and the lyrics were composed by a woman.
Okay.
Phyllis Burnett. So when we sing St. Vincent Land's Beautiful and we evoke that pride and that emphasis on freedom, we remember Phyllis Burnett, and that's our lasting legacy when she really created the lyrics of the anthem. But more modern day, we have excellent examples of women in culture. Joycey, I can't remember Joycey's full name, Bridget Crease. She became the first female to win the National Calypso Crown in St. Vincent. Of course, there is Fire Empress producing beautiful songs like I Am Woman, and I think 2012.
The first female to win all three, I believe.
All three, because you
not the first female, the first person actually. Yeah.
You that year you had a
Road March, Raga, and Calypso.
No, I think it was the first female. I don't know if any other female.
Do you know of any? No, I don't think there was any
person
person to win in 1 year.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I don't know of any other
Okay.
female who has done that.
And I keep asking this question all the time. Was there another female that would have won the road match before me in 2012?
It might be Pat Ragge she didn't win the road match, did you?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about
Okay,
road match.
all right, okay.
But I know 2012 was a big year for you. That's the year you did True Vinci, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that was definitely a big year for you. Yeah, so we have a lot
And
of-
Fatty Dan. I'm not gonna forget Fatty Dan either. Fatty Dan was one of them females that used to be out fighting with them men. It ain't easy on a male-dominated stage. So kudos to all the female artists in the business in St. Vincent and around the world. Yeah, it's a very hard place to battle. But yeah.
Outside of Calypso and Soca too, we have our own Judy Boucher.
Judy
Was
Boucher.
made it on the international stage.
Also, this lady in gospel also.
I know you're talking about, I can't remember her name.
Yeah.
Somebody like Judy
Bridget
Boucher.
Blucher.
Bridget.
It's Bridget?
Yeah.
Yes.
Bridget Blucher.
Yes.
Judy Boucher.
Yeah.
Right. And then of course in the steel pan arena, we wish that there would be we have scores of women playing, but we wish that more women would advance to arrange music, and that's one of the things.
But let's admit also, Marla, that you are the first and only woman who has arranged music for pan.
Yeah, so that's an accomplishment I'm proud of. The first female arranger for steel band music in St. Vincent and Grenadines, and also of my own thrust to revolutionize the arrangement process for steel band music as well. Using more modern techniques with the integration of technology and so on, and actually producing written steel band scores. That's something I'm proud of as well. But it would be nice to have more women emerging as steel pan arrangers and composers.
And we want them in the calypso too. So we're looking for more calypso singers and soca artists. Yeah, we're looking for them. Some people say it's starting in school, but come on, you could be out of school and still have that wish that, I want to do this. There's still room for you.
Yeah, so we've spoken about the calypso and the pan. There's also mass too. Women doing their things for years. What's her name?
Big up Jacinta one time with this one here.
And Queen of the Bands. She has won a number of credits. She was the
from Players,
the
I believe.
first, no, Blondie Bird. The first person to win Queen of the Band. She has done it a number. Simone Richardson. Has done it a number of years and so on. So women are.
So women have and are contributing in all aspects of life and living in St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Certainly.
What would you, as we round up the discussion in the program, what would you put out there as your hope, your wish, your fear, in terms of the greater involvement of women in Vincentian women in development in St. Vincent?
I will take this one first because I know I could be shorter than Marla. Women, I think that you guys need to love yourself a little bit more. And like I said, there's more information out there to doing things in life. There's easier access. Use them to better yourself. And always remember, be a better version of you every day. Happy International Women's Day.
Yeah, so I go back to the notion that there was a time when women's possibilities were limited. We have come a long way, and there is now a lot of scope for women to step out and get involved and make their contribution in the various sectors of our society. So I would encourage all women to be brave, be bold. Remember, as the International Women's Day theme suggests, we have to give to gain, and just to step up and to make your contribution in whatever way you can. I think that this has been we're wrapping up, right? It has been a good platform to celebrate a lot of the trailblazing women and women who are making a contribution to society today, from education. We spoken about culture, agriculture, governance, all these different areas. And so I just want to thank you, Ryan Pijan, for this opportunity, and to say Happy International Women's Day to all the women near and far.
Let's take this final call. Somebody's been trying to get in. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program. Good afternoon. All right. So the person has decided not to respond, I think. Pijan, any concluding?
I just want to thank the Fire Empress and Marla for joining us today. And it was a good reminder of how wonderful our women are. I know we have issues, especially the way some men tend to treat women, but that is not the time for this to discuss that. So I just want to thank them very much and commend them on the way forward.
Mm-hmm. For being both both mothers and fathers. In many instances. All right, let's try again. Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Yes, Brother Ryan.
Good afternoon to you.
Yes, I'm sorry I'm calling so late, but it's one of those things. Anyway, they have somebody at WEFM. Every time I call, she's saying that all the lines are out. Every time I call this program.
Not a live, no, I don't think it's a live person. Maybe a recording or something, but it's not a live person there saying that.
Well, I don't know. Every time I call.
No, it's not a live person. Might be a recording, maybe something like that.
It was me that called before, But
yeah, it's all right. That's when there's no live person answering the phone. It's just it's a recording.
Yes, but what I'm saying, I called, couldn't get on to you because the recording was there.
Yes, there's a certain time. There's a certain time.
Anyway, my contribution is that women are playing a pivotal role in this society today. Education for one. Because if you check when they have this CPA exam, you see the amount of women that are being passing and the boys, right?
Correct.
So the women are ahead of the men in this society. They are more constructive in doing things that is well-being. So we have to give the women the heads, okay? Respect to the men, though. Respect to the men. I'm not leaving them out, but the women are ahead of them. Anyway, thank God for the women.
I wish you had called earlier, but we have to go now. But she's gone. Very interesting contribution. All right. So with that, we want to thank both of you, Fire Empress and Mala, for being on the program today. Certainly enrich our discussion, our experience today. We thank you very much. And for those persons who called in, we thank you. Of course, all the persons who listened to the program today, again, we appreciate you being part of our program. Again, as I said, it's a family affair, so you're part of our WEFM and ECU at Hand family. Thank you very much. And remember, if you can, make it out to give support to Sister on our barbecue next Friday. Do that. It's a worthy cause, very worthy cause. All right, so let me go out with this reminder. On behalf of Pijan and Karen, my name is Cecil Ryan. Good afternoon.
Life is a journey, and I'm part of it. Life is reality. It is not a myth. A woman was made a man's companion since the days of creation to reproduce and replenish the earth. A woman's role is something of worth. I am a woman from the rib of man. I am a woman, virtuous woman, a woman with pride and dignity, with extra love for humanity. I'm gonna show my identity, 'cause that's the woman in me. Whoa. Hey. Alala, way, woman, 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 woman.